back to Vinyl Decals School. Thanks for joining me. Any follows, likes and subscribes are always appreciated, so thank you in advance for those. So I mostly sell wedding decals and this is always my busiest time of year, but it is especially busy at the moment because there are twice the amount of weddings with all the postponements, and then there are a lot of people asking for last minute stuff because restrictions have only just kind of recently lifted properly here in the UK. So it's a bit mad, and because of that I'm really sorry I haven't been able to update the Vinyl Decals School website much recently, but there are still lots of resources on there if you want to check those out if you haven't seen them already. And as soon as things calm down a bit, I promise I'll get back to updating blog content and adding more freebies for you all. But because it's so busy, I thought what better time than now to do a video on how I deal with lots of orders coming in. Especially because I know lots of people have specific busy periods, like Christmas is a big one. So I thought it might be useful to give you a few tips before those holiday rushes start. I will admit firstly, it took me like a month to get back into a good routine when it started getting this busy again. Purely because last year it was a lot quieter with the pandemic. So it was a little bit of a shock to the system this year when all the orders started flooding in. I'm very grateful, of course, it's been great, but it can get very overwhelming when you've got so much to do. But I'm finally at a point where I'm kind of managing to juggle everything quite well, I think. So the first thing I tried to do, and I do this all year round actually, is to make a schedule for the week on a Sunday so that I know if I have to work around any other appointments and how many days I have available to do my orders in. And that means I don't get to Friday and get completely overwhelmed and have loads of stuff that I need to do last minute. Also means I can prioritise what needs to be done that week and then make a list of any other things that could be done if I have any spare time, but I'll kind of fine if I don't get a chance to do them. Then the next thing I try to do is to take plenty of breaks. You could time block and schedule these in, but I found that doesn't really work that well for me. So I just try and take them as and when I need them. Because if I don't, I get totally burned out and then I can't do anyone's orders. And I also try and get outside for at least one of those breaks to get the benefit of some fresh air. And I'll also try and schedule in like a coffee date with friends or a day date with the husband, just so I don't have like solid work all week and there's kind of something fun to relax me in the middle of everything. I would also advise that you set yourself strict start and finish times. I know for some people you have to do that anyway if you've got kids or other responsibilities. But for me, if I don't do that, I can like literally work all evening, which isn't good either. So I try not to work beyond 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the very most. So that's like my personal scheduling stuff that I've actually went into a bit more in this video here, in how to stay organised and save time. And then I've also got a course on Skillshare, how to run your business more efficiently. I'll link to that in the description, and it's still 2 weeks off Skillshare for new members if you want to check that out. But then in terms of my Etsy shop and website, the first thing I do is to make sure that the turnaround times on both of them are really clear. So both of them at the moment are set to 1 to 2 weeks turnaround time. Don't usually tend to take the whole 2 weeks to make something, but I always think it is better to under promise and over deliver. I've also added an announcement to my Etsy shop header just to ask customers to get in touch if they need anything urgently, as I may not be able to fit it in. I did used to have an add-on where customers could pay a little bit extra and I would get things sent out the next day. Don't do that anymore because I don't like to go to the post office every day. And also it just caused a load of unnecessary stress and it wasn't really worth the extra money or the extra hours that I had to put in order to make them in such a quick turnaround. But it might be something worth considering for you if you're already working those extra hours to get things out really quickly. Leading on from that, I think another really important one, which I think I've probably mentioned in a few of my other previous videos, is learning how to say no. If you're super busy and you know taking on last minute things or super complicated things is just going to cause you way more stress, just say you can't fit in any custom orders right now, or say it's not going to get there in time. I know it sounds easier said than done, especially if it's a big order that's going to bring in a lot of money. But honestly, I used to say yes to everything, and then I used to work stupid hours, and it made me resent my shop, which wasn't good. But now I've got a way better handle on kind of what levels of stuff I can cope with. I say no way more often, and the more you do it, the easier it gets, and I don't ever really regret it. But then again, if you just have lots of easy, lovely customers and things are still flooding in, and you still get the point where you're completely overwhelmed, that you just have so much to do and not enough time to do it, just shut your shop or set all of your items as out of stock. I know it's great to have all of that money flooding in, but it's really not worth your mental health. And please don't listen to people who say you should never shut your Etsy shop. I've done it so many times and my sales have always bounced back to the levels they were before. Sometimes it takes a few days, sometimes it takes a week, but they always get back to where they were. And of course you could just extend your turnaround time or make a note to tell people you're taking a break. But for me personally, unless I completely shut everything down and put an autoresponder on, then I can't shut it off in my brain. So that's what I have to do. And then if that still isn't enough and you're still rushed off your feet all the time, then you probably want to look into outsourcing some stuff or hiring someone. I do it for other aspects of my businesses, but I don't hire anyone to help me make vinyl decals. That's a personal choice for various reasons, but you might want to look into it if you think that's something that could benefit you. Again, if you want even more tips and tricks on how to run your business more efficiently, then do check out my Skillshare course where I go into outsourcing in a bit more detail there as well. And then the last thing I do is I either overstock supplies, and if you can see, I've just got rolls of vinyl and envelopes everywhere in my office at the minute. So I either do that, or once a week, like I make a note of anything that looks like it's running low and we'll put an order in then. And that's because at the beginning of the month, I ran out of transfer tape completely. And that then put me like a couple of days behind on getting orders out, and it had such a knock-on effect that now I'm paranoid about that happening again. So literally everything I use for the business, I'm making sure I'm keeping the stock levels at probably a higher level than usual. And then other than remembering it's not the end of the world if something goes wrong, or if I can't message someone back instantly, or someone complains, that's pretty much all I've been doing lately to try and keep on top of things and make sure I don't get too overwhelmed. So I hope you found that helpful, but I'd love to know if you have any tips or kind of what you do to help when you're super busy. And please don't forget to like, follow and subscribe for more videos like this in future.